They came to the square and addressed us as children. The message we got from them was this: you people have gone too far. You have to do this gradually. Listen to your mommy and daddy. Listen to your government. Well, all I have to say is, what have you done that gives you the right to criticize us?
The 12 scholars had made an accurate assessment of this situation, and they were well-intentioned. They knew this stalemate would harm the students' cause. But all the students had put so much into the hunger strike, how could the government simply ignore us? If we left, it would have been like encouraging a bully. Emotionally, we couldn't accept that. You can tell me all you want about what a rational person should do, but I say, excuse me, I can't be that rational because I'm not facing a rational opponent.
We failed completely. At the time, I felt we intellectuals were caught between a totally irrational government and totally irrational students. What could we do?
Although most students were unimpressed by the intellectuals' attempt at mediation, some shared their belief that Gorbachev's visit would help the cause of reform in China. As a last-minute compromise, Wu Kai-shi led the call to make room for the official welcoming ceremony for the Soviet leader.
We really weren't willing. We decided not to move because, well, I'll quote the words of a foreign reporter. He said, "You are already on a hunger strike. What more can they ask of you?" On the night of the 14th, everybody was waiting for the clearing of the square. Everyone was restless. Why aren't they coming? Why aren't they coming? On the morning of the 15th, I phoned a friend. We both felt that the situation was very grim. If the government ignored the students on May 15th, they would be put in a very awkward position. What were they going to do? Stay on a hunger strike forever? If the government can simply stand by and watch while the students' lives slowly waste away like this, we will have to take even more drastic measures. We will set ourselves on fire. If the government is callous enough to see these children starve to death, then I will be the first to die. I said this over the loudspeakers. I said I was willing to be the commander-in-chief. I don't remember my exact words. I said the only criterion for a person to join the hunger strike leadership was a willingness to be the first to die, so that other students could live on.
The government chose to cancel the grand ceremony planned for Tiananmen Square. Gorbachev got only a quick welcome at the airport. The first visit to China by a Soviet head of state since 1959 had been upstaged by the students. Gorbachev met with party leaders like Zhao Ziyang, who looked to the Soviet Union as an example of political reform, and with others like Premier Li Peng, who were wary of everything Gorbachev represented. Both groups in the Chinese government needed the backing of Deng Xiaoping, who was in charge of the military, and thus held the real reins of power. By now, the hunger strikers had been in the square for 2 days, and their numbers were increasing constantly. Still, there was no official response. As time dragged on, sympathy for the students and anger at the government grew.
I couldn't even convince my own students to leave. The female students cried whenever I spoke to them. In the morning sun, the students looked so young, with only sheets of newspapers between themselves and the bare ground. It was really a touching sight. They were putting their young lives on the line, sitting there stubbornly, but the government was ignoring them. I was moved. So I decided to stay on the square to help them run errands.
We workers and ordinary people had been looking on. Then, when the students started the hunger strike, using their own lives to awaken the whole nation, people felt their responsibilities, and they rose up too.
On May 16th, while Gorbachev continued his discussions with the Chinese leadership, 300,000 people marched in the streets of Beijing. On the 17th, and again on the 18th, that number rose to 1 million people.
I went to the square every day after May 15th because a lot of students from my university were taking part in the hunger strike. I went there to help them with logistics and run errands. I also took part in the picket line to ensure that the ambulances could move freely.
The students had been on a hunger strike for nearly a week, and still the government paid no attention to them. We said, "What bastards? Any son of a bitch would have acted better than Deng Xiaoping or Li Peng."
Moderate government leaders tried to defuse the mounting crisis. The official media was allowed to report sympathetically on the hunger strike. Emergency medical teams were sent in to ensure the health of the hunger strikers. Actions like these suggested that the party line was shifting and nobody wanted to be left on the wrong side. Local party leaders and managers started permitting their workers to go to Tiananmen to show support for the students. Organized contingents started showing up carrying the banners of their workplaces. To participate now was beginning to look not only right, but safe.